Welcome to another video. One more tape here. I want to talk to you guys about something. We're going to be talking about how to work on cars for cheap, how to do it responsibly, the right way. As guys know, I've been a mechanic for the past 10 years, made mistakes, benefited a lot from my actual success within this field, and I'm going to give you a couple tips about when you get stranded and stuff like that. Starting out, the tools you're going to need starting out doing this stuff in your backyard is you're going to need a torque wrench, impact tools, your 3/8, your half-inch, 3/8, half-inch sockets in millimeters, a ratchet, extensions, breaker bars, I think I mentioned extensions? Yeah, extensions. So the most easiest thing you're probably going to be able to do in this field is probably going to be spark plugs, coil packs, brakes, oil changes, and we're just going to use those as examples for today. Now, buying these parts, you can buy them responsibly and cheap. Websites I like to use first, websites, Advanced Auto Parts, English, Amazon, and Rock Auto. Rock Auto, if you're not time dependent on these stuff to fix your car, and you can wait a week, you can find really, really cheap stuff. I found oil filters close to like $3, $4 when they usually cost $10, $12 for easy for a mobile one. Now, your best oil filters for doing oil changes are your Wix filters from Napa, your Purolator filters from Advanced Auto Parts, your Carquest blue filters from Advanced Auto Parts are really good. STP filters are alright. I like Mobile One, but it's okay. I usually really go towards the middle ground Purolator filters and the Napa's Wix and the CarQuest Blues. Those have been my favorite filters. OEM is obviously the best at the top of the line, but Honda filters are usually costing between $13 to $12, and I just prefer something that's manufactured specifically as filtration versus using something that's OEM where they don't really specialize in filtration, if that makes any sense. As far as brake pads and rotors, I personally like shopping around for akebonos, Ray Bastos, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, and Evolution brake pads are pretty solid. I would stand away from Detroit Axle brake pads. I've heard a lot of people have issues with those. Anything that says Detroit Axle with it, I would stand away from. Rotors, Bosch makes rotors. CarQuest from Advanced Auto Parts makes pretty good rotors, and Napa makes pretty decent rotors too. Little tip: Napa's oil, synthetic oil, literally comes from the same house of Valvoline. That's an old trick that somebody taught me, so I go with Napa's full synthetic fluid. Now, when it comes to electronic systems, your emission systems, your O2 sensors, your mass airflow sensors, your ignition coil packs, all this other stuff, spark plug wires, spark plugs even. This is where I get into the difference of paying for OEM versus just paying for the product that you're looking for that is OEM, but not branded OEM. So Honda, we're gonna use Toyota too. They both use denso, and the thing about denso is that sometimes denso sell these products to Toyota so that they label it and they jack up the prices. Just look up the denso part number on your Toyota spark plugs. If they're the original ones, it will say Toyota, but it'll say a denso part number right on it. And you'll save yourself a lot of money, especially with mass airflow sensors and more expensive electronic systems. That's the trick to the game. And you can copy these part numbers and put them into either Amazon or put them into, don't shop on eBay, or put them into Rock Auto. You'll save yourself a lot of money very quickly, and the only thing you have to do is pay shipping, which is, it shouldn't be too expensive. That's why, as a mechanic, I like having a Amazon Prime account that should be paid for, and getting that stuff very quickly, either next day or the next 2 days. So when it comes to shopping for car parts, specifically at dealerships, the trick to this is you need to shop around in different cities. Like for me, for an example, if I lived in Norwich, I would shop around that Litchfield, I would shop around that Stratford, I would shop around that Waterbury and see prices and compare. Because the thing that you have to understand about dealerships, and this is a trick, is that they mark up their parts because they have a profit that they need to meet in a commission. So at the end of the month, at least for me, I had a commission check that would come in every single month from the parts that I sold because of the markup on those parts. So that's why it's always good to shop around, because you don't want to be part of that extra commission check of somebody else's paycheck if they're just ripping people off. But if you're in absolute dire need of electronic parts, I can tell you right now, CarQuest products for electronics are really, really good. Orielys electronic products are really, really good when it comes to ignition coils or any type of sensors. And then Amazon, obviously, for even less of a convenience, because Amazon does sometimes same day, but it has to be at 10 o'clock to get it same day at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But if you absolutely need it, Advanced Auto Parts, Orielys, and dealers are pretty much convenient when it comes to those things. Just make sure when you're buying sensors, I want to make this clear, O2 sensors, mass airflow sensors, anything that's emission related, that it is OEM, or else that check engine light will not go off. Emission systems are very sophisticated and very crucial because they take a specific measurements to make sure that that check engine light does go off. Now, starting off as a mechanic, and there's where I lean away from buying parts, but more as experience. I already told you the basics at the start of this video, what tools you need, but you need to know that this easiest stuff you can do as a mechanic is you can do your own coolant service. You can drain your own coolant and refill it and burp the system. You can do your own oil changes. They're not really that difficult, and they're cheap, and you save yourself a lot of money. When I was working for numerous of other places, oil changes would come up to $120 to like $150, depending what it is, whether if it's a truck, a car. But usually for me on oil changes, it's $40. Oil, filter, drain plug, gasket, and you do it yourself. Jack it up on a weekend, you service it, and you even do your own MPI yourself. Grab a laptop, get a printer, go to a library, print out 10 sheets of that MPI sheet, and just do the MPI yourself, you know, because nowadays not a lot of technicians are very, very good, and I can say that from personal experience that they do not know how to do MPIs properly. And when you're doing it yourself, you're reassuring yourself that I know this is good. Other stuff you can do, ignition coils, spark plugs. Be careful, don't over torque your spark plugs. They're just going to be a little bit snug. That's all you want to do when you're doing spark plugs, a little bit snug. Ignition coils you can do yourself. Mass airflow sensor, usually when you pop open your hood, 2 screws that hold the mass airflow sensor, pull it out, replace it, 2 screws in, and you're done. Those are the easiest things you're probably going to be able to do. As far as tires, obviously you're going to have to take that to a shop, balance the wheel, put it back on, torque it down, all that other stuff. So you can't really do those at home. But if I can think of anything else, no, I would say that's really about it. I will close this video out by saying that you don't have to be nervous when doing this stuff, because a lot of people make mistakes, and the person that does make a lot of mistakes is me. But I learn from them and I grow, and not everything is challenging. It's only a matter of what your mental state is. If you look at everything as a mental challenge, you're not going to be able to get through it. It's okay to look at it at a specific season and say, okay, this is a little bit difficult for me right now, and I'm getting overwhelmed, but I'm going to keep on doing this again and again, and I'm going to try to improve one thing every day of doing that job consistently to make myself good at it. And that's the thing about being good at this type of work, is that the repetition cycles, if you're repeating this and you are being patient with yourself, but also motivating yourself in that process, you'll get really, really good at this. Second tip I can give you as far as being a mechanic and starting out is that they don't expect you to be very, very timely. It's okay to take your time, making sure that your production is very well to perfection. It's about working with integrity. But are you going to make mistakes? Yes. But working in the dealership field or any type of mechanic shop, or if it's a mom and pop shop, Midas, or a Ford dealership, it's all about being timely, but also making sure you're doing good work. So don't really push yourself starting out to being quick, but make sure that your work is good and that your MPI sheets look fantastic. Last advice I can give you is get as much backyard experience as you can and as much photos as you can of yourself working on cars, holding that transmission as you're pulling out, pulling out the the dipstick tube, checking the oil, and draining the oil under the car. Even if you get the experience of working on German cars, fancy luxury cars, American cars, imported cars, all that is good for your portfolio to make everything look presentable for somebody that looks. And last but not least is your resume. Your resume needs to look absolutely fantastic. Meaning, I like putting wrenches as my background in my resume, uploading a picture of myself right there, so when they find me in the middle of looking for me for my interview, obviously, they see a face and they recognize it. Another cheat to this is making sure they have good references. Work on other people's cars consistently if you can, whether if it's a family member or a neighbor. These are good references for you. If you overhear them saying, oh, I need to do an oil change on my car, but it's just getting a little bit too expensive, and I don't know about this and that, you can stand up, be confident, and say, hey, I'll do an oil change on your car, I'm learning, but you can overlook me, or maybe not pay me at all for doing the job. Just let me do it. That's experience, and if they liked it, cool. And if they didn't like it, then you settle it, And I think we fail to realize sometimes that the bargaining system is still around. So like some people might exchange mechanical work for doing this for you, giving you a good reference. And I think we need to normalize that, because we're getting too comfortable with the idea of money is everything. But at the end of the day, money isn't everything. Experience is everything in this world. And as long as you have that, you'll be set for life. But the thing is that you can't be stuck at the job that you're at, being a cashier, to being a cashier, to being a cashier, to being a cashier. It just gets annoying, and it doesn't really bring you any type of experience besides customer service. And customer service doesn't really exchange as a mechanic, because in a dealership environment, you're not really talking to the customer. The service advisor already does that. If you guys have any questions, drop them below. This video is getting pretty long, but you guys know the brands I already talked about. Don't cheap out on stuff, but if you have to budget reasonably, know where to shop, take your time, find deals, and if it's something that's an absolute emergency and you're stranded on the side of the road, I'm just going to bring it all together. And if it's something that you need that is in the side of the road, you can go to Orielys, Advanced Auto Parts, Napa. I would just stay away from AutoZone. AutoZone products they're poo-poo. And if you can wait a little bit, Rock Auto. And Rock Auto definitely gives you a good guide on what's good and what's not good. But I usually normally go for either their daily driver or their blue tab section when it comes to specific products that they have. I think that's basically it. Mentioned everything. Yeah. Oh, one more thing. If you want to drive that sports car, don't let people stop you. Because if that's a shit box, plenty of experience you can get out of that. And people forget about that. Is that we go through bad things in order to get good things. I love you guys so much. Already know. God loves you too. Subscribe to the channel. Niche fragrances, biblical motivation, normal motivation, and of course, car content. Bye.